Hey guys, Jeff Arnold with 4Spot Consulting here with another 5 Minute Friday. This week I've been hearing a lot of noise about the fact that AI is getting more expensive. And in that same vein, people are saying, well, if AI is getting so much more expensive, are we going to go back to hiring entry level data entry clerks? The bottom line is no. um, so, a couple quick things. One, AI did not get more expensive. In general, without going super deep into it, in general, what happened was Anthropic, who has Claude, they removed their pro plans from third party agentic systems, meaning if you're paying for Pro or Max, you can't have that hooked up to like Claudebot, so that you can't have that compute running using third-party systems. If you want to use those third-party systems, you're going to have to tie that into your APIs, which means you're now going to get charged for your APIs. So for those power users that are doing those types of things, yes, they may have to pay a little more because now they have to use the APIs. However, the cost of the models that they have actually gotten less expensive. So as Anthropic is rolling out more models and newer models, the costs actually typically go down. So let's talk about the idea of having to hire entry level data clerks now. Because people are saying, well, if AI is going to get so much more expensive, I'm going to start hiring entry level people again at whatever, $15 an hour. But AI is still infinitely cheaper than those people. So when you're talking about Haiku, for example, which is one of Claude's models, they're working right now at, I think it's like $1 per million tokens, right? So you can do tons of work, very basic entry level work, tons of entry level work for like $1. And so the other thing that people are forgetting when they start to make that argument about are we going to hire new entry level people is that AI is going to run 24/7. It doesn't need onboarding. It doesn't need benefits. It doesn't need PTO. It doesn't need any of that stuff. So you're going to be able to do all that really basic mundane stuff that really bored people anyway. You're going to be able to do all that mundane stuff still at an absolute fraction of a cost compared to what you're going to have for an entry level data entry clerk, for example. Now, what is going to change is that those entry level positions will change. Instead of somebody coming in and being taught how to transcribe data coming from this document and typing it into this system, or being able to copy and paste data back and forth, what's going to happen is those people that are hired at the entry level, they're going to be trained on how to use the tools that they have in order to make them more effective and how to implement them properly. So, I mean, that's what we do with our business is we work on taking that mundane stuff, right? We take that and we automate it so that your people that are working are not doing that mindless work. The mindless work is taken care of by the systems. Now what you're doing is training your people on the front end to be able to control and monitor what's happening and evaluate what's happening as opposed to doing the physical mindless work. Now, the other thing that people don't realize, if they're getting into a little more advanced, working with the APIs, working with, we use make.com, but using make and other automation systems to use the true API connectivity with your AI systems, is people are not using two key elements that could save them up to 95% of their API costs. And those are prompt caching and bulk batch APIs. So prompt caching simply means if you have a very long prompt that you're running repetitively through automation, if you every single time you send that through, you might be sending through another 5 or 8,000 tokens, right? Tons of tokens in this very long prompt. So every time you send a request, you're also sending along all those tokens over to the AI in order to process it. If you implement prompt caching, that prompt stays inside the AI system. So every time you send data across to it, you're not sending an extra 7 or 8,000 tokens into the system. So every time you send, you're saving 7 or 8,000 tokens. And that adds up if you're doing a lot of automation. The other thing is that these systems have batch APIs available. So if you have things that are not mission critical, they're not time sensitive, you can send things over and send it across as a batch. And then what happens is Anthropic, and I'm using that as an example, but the other AI systems have similar things. Anthropic will sit there and hold on to that and say, you know what? Once we see a dip in our compute usage, then we'll throw this in and we'll process it. They claim it could take up to 24 hours to happen. I've never seen anything go over about 20 minutes, to be honest. But you get it at half price. So think about the fact that if you have very, very basic mindless things you need to get done, that, you know, maybe it's like analyzing data on a spreadsheet or organizing data or whatever it might be, and you throw it into Haiku, which is already $1 per million tokens, now you're getting that at half price. I mean, you're able to do so much more with your AI systems, and that's what we do. So we have a lot of things that we run, which are analysis and things that don't need us to have that happen immediately. It can be something that we send across. It can analyze it through the middle of the night and then send it back to us in the morning. So we implement that, and it's not hard to implement. But it's something that's critically important if you're concerned about the way that your AI is being used. So the increase in AI pricing is going to happen. It's going to continue to happen as we move forward, because right now they're working at negatives. They're trying to get people involved. There are people, I mean, like us, I'm sure, where we are costing them money with the way that we use our AI systems. But what's going to happen is architecture is going to be extremely important. You need to have the right architecture in your AI systems so that you're not going through and just blindly using the most powerful model they have to do really simple work. So one of the things we've implemented for clients as well, in addition to the caching and the batch APIs, is we implement a process that when something hits AI, if it's a multi-step process, we will first evaluate what model do we need. Is this something that's going to require using an Opus? No, it's not, because Opus is 5 times, 10 times more expensive, whatever it is, than using Haiku. And so typically we're using Sonnet, which is their middle level, but if it's something simple, we'll use Haiku. And then if it is something that requires standard, then it goes to Sonnet. If it is something that requires a lot more heavy duty work, then we'll throw it into Opus. But even having that traffic cop at the very beginning of your scenario that you're running your automation, that can save you a ton of API calls and costs. So those are 3 different things you could do. The routing portion, I can't really give you a primer on that, but I am going to provide a primer on the caching and the batch APIs. So if you're interested in the primer that I have, please connect with me and then go ahead and reply back in LinkedIn, reply back with the word primer, and I will get that sent over to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, just there's going to be a link where you can go and you can sign up on a quick form, and we'll send over that primer to you. So yeah, hopefully this is informative. Hopefully really start using the batch and the cached prompts. It is a huge money saver when you're using AI at a high volume. So hopefully this has been beneficial. If you need any help with any automation or AI implementation, please reach out. I'd love to chat with you. Have a good weekend.